Hello, Shrewdness. Welcome back to another episode. Today, we're going to be talking about the Kansas City Royals and their comeback into playoff relevance. We're going to talk about the Kansas City Chiefs. We're going to look at their first night, opening day victory over the Ravens. And then we're going to finish with some of our best sports bets for this weekend. So it's Dr. Lou and myself, Dex, and then I believe Chisholm's going to be joining us mid-pod. So let's get going. Welcome, Shrewdness fans. We are going into our Chiefs and Royals and gambling picks. Welcome to the show. You're joined today by myself, Dex. We got Lou here. Chisholm might pop on later, may not. I'm not really sure. He's in Cancun. Probably into Harlem somewhere. I'm not really sure what's going on down there. We got some videos and pictures, and boy, I don't even know what I was looking at. It was. I
do worry he might not make it back, but we'll see.
Yeah, it was kind of like Cancun, Lion King on ice with fire pucks. I don't really know what I witnessed on that, but
the whole thing
Chisholm can talk about that later. It was fantastic. But what's fun is that last week, we only gave you a very, very, very short sentence on the Royals after they dropped 7 straight games. They literally lost every single game from our prior podcast, and we just gave it a cursory note, like kind of what they do. We'll see how they do next week. Well, thank God the next week started, because since then, the last 6 games, the Royals are 5-1. We are sitting at 80-66, 3 games back from first place in the division. 4th best record in the league, 3 games up on Minnesota for the last wild card, and 6 games up from all the challengers, Detroit, Boston, and Seattle, who are trying to find their way into that playoff race. But let's talk some Royals. I know Lou's been ready and chomping at the bit. Let's go, Lou. Talk about some Royals. We finally got some positivity in the world again.
Consensus, 94% to make the playoff. 94%.
God,
honestly, a lot of people have talked about it. The bizarre thing is it all comes down to the Detroit series. If they get swept in that Detroit series is the only way this gets weird. As long as they just hold serve, like the numbers that have to happen if they just play like crap and like play like a 40% win throughout, everybody else right now has to play like 65-70% ball to catch them. There's just not a lot of games left to make up ground. As long as the Royals, they can drop almost 2 games a series the rest of the way out, and still be fine and still make the playoffs. Now the crazy part is the overall number 1 seed is still in play. Like, it's not that far away, and they're playing the Yankees, and they've now split the first 2 games with the Yankees, and they beat the tar out of the Yankees tonight, and it was not close. Seth Lugo had probably a 70-game score game where he threw, probably 75 even maybe. He threw 7 innings, 10 strikeouts, 3 singles. The Yankees never had a runner in scoring position for the whole game.
That is incredible.
Unbelievable.
Those people in that lineup. That's crazy.
It was one of like 3 games all year that both Judge and Soto didn't get on base at all.
That probably is. I mean, when you have 2 people that are on base, 450-ish? That's hard. They're going to be on base half the time on each of their bats.
Unbelievable. They're rounding into form. And what the Shrewdness listeners don't really know is that Chisholm and I think Dexter and Pruitt to a certain extent, but Chisholm and I definitely have been like giggling / hating on a certain Tommy Pham. And Tommy Pham, we've all year been like, please God, don't sign Tommy Pham. Of all the things the Royals could do, just please God, don't sign Tommy Pham. Right?
We've always loved Tommy Pham. He's the best.
We now we have a new name for Tommy Pham on the Shrewdness podcast. His new name is God, I've always loved Tommy Pham. I literally don't say Tommy Pham. I always say, God, I've loved
Tommy Pham.
I always loved Tommy Pham. that dude's been baller. He's been literally the best leadoff hitter for the Royals, playoff team Royals, all season long. It's like Tommy Pham was the answer all along, even when he played for the Cardinals. Like, he gave us a free game, right? Like, Tommy Pham has been, like, amazing.
That's it.
Thank you.
Welcome. How's Cancun treating you?
It's a lot of meeting rooms, but I hear that it's nice.
Yeah.
I hear that beach is cool and all. Hope to see it at some point. But
so you got to see it when you flew in. That's about it.
And it's hot as hell and humid. But other than that, pretty good.
Sense.
So I know we've tackled some Gio already, and now we're on to
let me catch you up where we're at. So Gio podcast complete. You'll be able to listen to that one once we put it out. We have just started going into our Royals Chiefs and gambling aspect of it. So we just started Royals. We talked about 5-1 over the last 6,
which is insane.
And just current thoughts on this last 6 games. Yep.
Yeah, so, I do have a monologue at some point if y'all want.
Are we going to get
I definitely have a monologue
at some
about the
Royals.
Royals.
Like a Bill Maher new rules segment for you, where you can just rant.
You can just go off script.
I like literally stayed up for like 2 hours going over my Royals nonsense about what I wanted to say.
I want you to do it right now.
I love it.
We are in our Royals
this
spot.
is the moment.
Here's the moment. Let's
hear it.
Hit it.
So last week, for the loyal and staunch shrewdness listeners, I may have used the game over man Bill Paxton line. I said if we talked about the Royals at all, that I was walking out and the season was over and we don't want to talk about this garbage team anymore.
He was
serious.
I want you to know. I never gave up. I was there the whole time, but I do have to apologize for saying the things that I said, because since that happened, the Royals have taken a bunch of has-beens, a bunch of never-will-be's, and they replaced Vinny Pasquantino. Not only did they replace Vinny Pasquantino, they've surpassed Vinny Pasquantino. Their numbers that they have put together on snot and shoelaces has been better than the guy who's out. All right? They have gone from losing 7 straight to, I think it's actually, Dexter, like a 6-2 stretch since that time. This is the gauntlet, as people have said. And instead of being a gauntlet, they have absolutely shown that they are not only a playoff team, they're a contender. Their starting pitching has been phenomenal, beyond phenomenal. Like, no starters in entirety of baseball have had a run like the Royals have had over the last 8 days, okay? This team only knows one thing when it gets to the playoffs, right? They are Astros killers. They are Angels destroyers. They are Blue Jay shooter downers, baby. They only get killed by Giants. That's the only team in the last 40 years that has even tried to beat them in the playoffs. Now they're going into, and 94% likely, again, it all comes back to the Tigers. As long as that hits, nobody wants this smoke.
Woo!
Let's roll.
I love it.
Let's
I
go.
love it.
Let's go.
Like, our little Royals team. We're 5'0", 100, and we're swinging with the we got the Yankees on the ropes and the $1 billion payroll, and we're like, oh yeah, we're gonna take Grossman, and we're gonna take
Gurriel. I'm gonna fire this one up one more time.
Got out of his wheelchair and took a bat for us. This is unbelievable.
And so you can't.
And Bobby Witt's playing kind of like an average human being right now.
Yeah,
he's like mediocre kind of.
When we talk about the Royals doing what they need to do without mortgaging the future, they have. We have signed literal just pick up trash heap, but the trash heap has been there before and done it before.
Again,
of the ones we picked up, they are professional hitters, and I'll give them that.
Half of the worst team in the history of baseball, they get on our team and they're fine.
Yeah. Yeah, the Royals have done what they need to do. The bullpen is not doing too bad. Again, they wouldn't be. Again, they're 5-1 last 6, 6-2 last 8. But
it's MacArthur.
He still closed it out.
I got a soft spot.
No, MacArthur was not today.
He didn't till it wasn't today.
No, MacArthur. I think that was the last straw on the circle of trust. MacArthur is now low leverage MacArthur. They are not throwing him in high leverage anymore.
And I gotta say, I have a soft spot for MacArthur and the White Horse because he was like hope when we had no hope. He seemed like
in April.
a glimpse of something, and like I'm like, hey, we might have a real closer again, but
it kind of reminds me. So you remember in Lord of the Rings, when you look up the hill, look to the east on the third day, and in April, that was MacArthur up there on the horse. But then since then, that horse has tripped, fallen, rolled down the hill, fell into the orcs on top of the spears. Like, oh God, that was a.
Hey,
he just piano faced his way all the way through the rest of the year. Like all the way down the stairs. He's been terrible.
I am team Buvic.
Yeah.
Buvic and Lynch and
no, but Lynch is across my fingers that this is real, but Lynch is looking pretty good.
I'm telling you, it's what I want.
But Buvic absolutely annihilated him in the 8th. It was not close. I watched the game. He was just absolutely destroying them. And then they didn't even have to use Ursig. They brought in Schreiber. Schreiber absolutely crushed them too.
I just like to point out.
Some wicked curves.
For the loyal shrewdness listeners, we called this Lynch experiment way back in the day. At the beginning of the season, we were like, hey, we got this guy. He's an arm.
Let's
put
him
him in the bullpen. Let's make him a lefty reliever, right? Let's get him out there, and thus far it has worked. And I say like,
if we Shaver 2.0, let's go.
Chiz, did you see the freaking line on Lugo tonight?
Yeah, holy crap! So much for my dead arm theory, like.
Yeah,
I mean, it's probably
he needed a week off. No, he's good.
It's at least a 70 game score. It might have been like a 75.
Probably was,
I mean,
right?
It was in his top 3 performance. 10 strikeouts, 3 singles, no walks. The entire night they did not have a runner get to second base.
Let's remind people
the entire night.
The Yankees we were playing. It's not like we were playing the White Sox.
Yes.
We were playing the Yankees.
5-0 shutout.
And he navigated that lineup
in New York. In New York, in that short porch little crappy-ass field where they hit dingers for 200-foot pop-ups.
Yeah, I pulled up the best games of the season to review, and May, I think it was 12th against the Angels. He allowed 1 run, complete game, 12 strikeouts. And that was his 83 game score, which was bonkers. And then there was like another one that I looked at, but this was
the full lineup too. By the way, Gleyber Torres had 2, Soto, Judge. I don't know who Wells is, whatever. But
he's
Stanton,
their catcher.
Jazz Chisholm, Jason Dominguez, Anthony Rizzo, Anthony Volpe. That's the full Monty lineup. That's no AAA.
Yeah, that is
a stacked Yankees lineup. And so as a Royals team, you go.
It is. So that's what makes it more impressive. I just want to make sure people are the shrewdness not listening to us like, oh well, yeah, you went against the Sunday lineup.
No, this isn't the get.
No, sir. This is not the get out of town day.
And the fact that this is where you have hope. This is where we all know this. Pitching beats hitting. In the major leagues, pitching beats hitting.
Always.
And even though,
which is why we lost to Madison.
That's exactly right. That's why the only reason the Giants beat us that series, because he pitched 8 games. He pitched 8 games in a 7-game series, and it was insane. But that's why we have hope, because you look at our lineup, and we've said this all season too, right? You look at the lineup and you go, okay, you've got like 3 consistent producers, now 2 with Pasquantino out, and you go, can you win with that? And my instinct has always been no, you really can't win with that. If you get starting pitching like you got tonight, you could beat anybody with that. Like, I mean, beat anybody. And so if you get to the dance, which what's the odds now, Lewis? 90-some%, 94% that we get to the dance.
Yeah, it's been pretty consistently like 94%.
So we're going to go to the dance. The question is where, and do we still have a shot at the division? And that's the real question right now. So where are we sitting now after the win? Still 3
games back. Yeah. So I gave the rundown earlier. We're 80-66, 3 games back. We're 3 games up on Minnesota after sweeping their ass earlier this weekend. But at the end of the day, we are 6 up from all the wildcard teams. So we've given ourselves a nice cushion. I mean, it's going to take a collapse, but we don't think so. So Lou laid out earlier, we have a 94% chance to make the playoffs now, which is fantastic. Now we're kind of jockeying for seeding, really. We're kind of going down that home stretch, is throwing elbows and trying to get a better seed.
No, it was crazy. I was listening to Rainey and Seren Petro, and they were like kind of nauseous talking about it, but it's true. Where we are struggling is losing Vinny hurt more than just losing Vinny. It hurt because we lost the left-hand bat, and our left-hand bat stuff, it's like Melendez. It's like Melendez, and then like,
and I'm trying to look at another one.
No, it's that bad. Yeah, Massey, Isbell, Adam Frazier, and Robbie Grossman, but he's one of those, like, really, he's a right-handed hitter who kind of pretends he can hit left-handed, but he's basically a right-hand hitter. Yeah. So, like, we don't have a ton, and if we had to play like the Orioles pitch effects for lefties is like so much better. Having to go to play at Baltimore is going to be miserable for us. Especially because we only have one left-handed starter, which is nice. Like, if we get Reagans there, we can flip them around and make them bat right-handed more. But like, Orioles are our nightmare team.
No, that's right.
If we have to play more
that's
there.
Right. But hey, now the goal is like that's right. It's still a long shot to win the division. But man, if we could win that division and be out of that wild card 3-game, because the 3-gamer is always a bit of a crapshoot. It's better than the 1-gamer for sure, but 3-gamer is a bit of a crapshoot. It'd be great to be in that. It'd be great to be in that pole position, win the division. If we win the division, we're probably at least a 2 seed at that point in the AL. So it's a goal, and gosh, what did you say, Lewis? Spit and shoelace, or what? Like, it's snot and shoelaces.
Snot and shoelaces, baby.
We're pulling this together on. I mean, if you look at this, if you had an objective outside Major League Baseball professional look at this lineup, they would be like, "What are you doing?"
All right, here's the deal, man. We have 16 games left, right? We got the one more with New York, and then we have 5 3-game series. Okay? We got easy numbers here, right? We have 5 3-game series and one more with New York. We have 16 total games.
Wait, tell me who the opponents are.
We have one more New York: Pittsburgh, Detroit, San Francisco, Washington, Atlanta. Detroit's playing a hell of a lot better. That is not the gimme. Atlanta may need it.
So Atlanta, Pittsburgh, and who?
Washington, San Francisco, a lot of National League, and
how's
Detroit
that 16
is the
games?
only. It's New York and Detroit.
2 games against. Okay.
3 with Atlanta, 3 with Washington, 3 with San Francisco, 3 with Detroit, 3 with Pittsburgh, and 1 with New York.
Okay.
So.
Okay.
Yes. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, 3 times 5. There's 5 series, and then
we're not doing math again. 13.
All right.
So we have 16 games left. That's it. We have one more with New York. We're going to lose that game. Even though it's Reagan's, we're going to lose that game because there's no way we take 2 out of 3 from New York. So there'll be 15 games.
I don't know. We killed Giants. We killed Giants. We killed Yankees. Whatever. Let's go.
We're probably going to lose the game. So, anyways, you can call that one as a win or loss on your own. I'm calling it a loss. We've got 16 games. What's that record for the last 16? You've heard it's mostly National League teams the rest of the way out with one Detroit series as the only option. We do get Skeens at Pittsburgh. So that's but then again, they've been limiting him to 6 innings. They tend to get a little bit frisky after the 6 innings anyways. I'm not saying
Lewis,
it's a complete loss.
This is such an easy question. I thought you were going to give me something tricky. But they're clearly going to go 10-6. It's the easiest thing you've ever given me, and I'll take it to the bank right now. Thank you. Chisholm, please take this softball away from here.
I'm going
10-6.
11-5.
Here's what I think happens. I think they go 7-9 because I think that based upon everything that's happened, they're going to be right around 500, and then they're going to look and they're not going to need the last 3 games because they're not going to be able to go up or down. Mm-hmm. They're going to be locked in, and they're just going to tank the Atlanta series, and they aren't going to care. And Atlanta's still going to need it. So I think they're going to be kind of close to that kind of stuff, and then they're just going to be like, yeah, we need to save. We need to kind of rest up. We need to try to save everything up for the playoffs. They're going to go 7-9. 7-9 will absolutely get them in the playoffs, for sure. 100%. If they just win 7.
No, they're there for sure.
Yeah.
And man, not to toot my horn, but I think I was right about the gauntlet too. I think I said 11-10 for that 21 game stretch. I know they lost 7 in a row, but they also got this 5-1 stretch, and they also had a great.
Oh yeah, they had a huge stretch at the beginning.
So I'm pretty sure I
was 12-9. I was 12-9.
I also want to highlight
on that.
As we talk about going down the stretch, we talked about the Royals schedule. I looked at Cleveland. Their series of note is the Rays. They got a huge one with Minnesota.
Oh yeah,
and Minnesota is pretty pissed that they just got swept by the Royals. So they're going to play hard because their playoff life is now on the line. Now they're having to battle with that pile of crap, Detroit, right. Boston, Seattle. So they got to make sure they get through there. St. Louis, that we've been laughing at kind of all year because they're old and broken. Lo and behold, they had a tremendous last couple weeks.
By cutting people. Yeah. They cut 4 people.
I know.
They got rid of dead weight, and they did better.
Yeah, so I think they've gone 12-6, thereabouts. I mean, I might be off a couple games, but regardless, they're playing some solid 600.
Yeah, they're up to 500
baseball. And that's a team that they're playing hot, and they're trying to make a run because honestly, they're not that far out. They're 500, and they could actually cause some problems in the playoff race for the National League. And then the thing is with Cleveland is they finish with Houston, and Houston is in this battle with Seattle to win the West. Now I know. Right now, it's not too much of a challenge. I mean, Houston's up 4 games over Seattle, but they sure as ass don't want to get their ass swept the last 3 days.
That's right.
They have 2 games. They're going to play. So I think we have teams that are going to be playing hard against Cleveland, which helps. And for the Royals, again, we talked. It's nice having the Natties on the schedule, man. It's nice having Pittsburgh on the schedule right now.
Actually, right now, projected starters, they're not getting skis.
See, that's just...
I thought they were.
I thought they were too, but looking at projected starters on ESPN,
I bet they bumped him back for innings because they're not making the playoffs. You don't need a what glory you're trying. He's already wrapped up rookie of the year.
What's the point?
I mean, what are you doing?
So if we go, here's the question.
That's good for us.
If we go, I had the most optimistic prediction there at 11-5. So let's play with that for a second. If we go 11-5, what? And the Guardians. What do we think the Guardians? Or the Indians are going to go.
Okay, so if we go 11,
that put us at 91 wins.
91 wins.
If we go 11-5.
So Cleveland only has to go 8 and...
They would have to go 8. Well, we have the tiebreaker. No, we don't.
We have the tiebreaker, yeah. No, we do.
Oh, that's right.
We do. We absolutely do.
We do.
We have the tiebreaker on the Guardians.
They would have
we get a half game.
They have to win 9 then if we did that. Right? So they would have to go 9. And
they've got 3 with the White Sox, but after the White Sox series, it's
so
about
they have
the
to
same.
They have to play
potential.
winning baseball. They can't have any sort of collapse whatsoever.
Yeah, they'd have to go 9-7 if
we're in
to go
already.
9-7
We'd
to
have to
win the division if we win 11-5. So that's where we're sitting right now. We're hoping. Hey, we've got to play. If we do what Lewis said, though, then.
But that's the deal. Yankees and Baltimore are sitting on 83 wins too. It's Yankees, Baltimore, and Cleveland all at 83 wins. Yep. So 11 wins, and we are looking at like maybe really getting a 1 seed.
No, you're right.
Like a 1 seed.
Right. At a minimum, exactly 2.
Right. And hopefully New York and Baltimore beat each other up and just do 5-over ball on the way, and that'd be awesome. I want to hit you guys up for one more opinion piece because in my head, I'm always looking for that 7, 8, 9 just to replicate the success the Royals had for their runs. Lynch, Bubic, Ursig. Tell me I'm wrong. Why can't that be our 7, 8,
here's
9?
what I would say. I think
we need more Lynch data.
So
we need
here's
more
what I'm
going
to go, and Lewis is going to hate me on this. Lewis is going to hate me on this, but I'm going to go Schreiber, Bubic, Ursig. I know that Schreiber.
I want them to get more innings with Lynch, but Lynch has really good. But they've got to get more innings. They've got to get more innings to see if this is sustainable.
Schreiber's had some down periods. The middle of the season was bad for him, but the dude has the experience in these spots that I think down the stretch he kicks in. He gives you what you need in the 7th inning. Then you go 7, 8, 9. Now the other unknown that we have. Remember, we traded for someone. No, we traded for someone.
I like Sam Long too.
And he's Hunter Harvey.
Hunter Harvey or whatever.
So
where did that? Is he hurt still?
He's still hurt. So the question is, I don't know if we have any. If you guys have seen any.
Don't get me.
Yeah.
Get ready. You ready?
Ready.
Alec Marsh. Alec Marsh is going to be able to dial it up, and he's not going to be a starter in the playoffs. So
no.
I think, cross your fingers, hopefully we get Lorenzen in the next week or so to come back. Alec Marsh is going to be completely expendable as a starter or a spot starter, and I hope they start threading him into some relief options, because this guy could throw 97, and if he's just throwing for an inning, he might could get up to 98 on I don't have to manage everything.
Yeah, I can see
that. Go all out.
You know what's funny though is now we're suddenly talking about 5 or 6 people in the mix. This is fantastic.
No, Chris Stratton, bye, son. You ain't pitching an inning in the playoffs.
I hope not. I hope that the General's not pitching any innings, and I hope that Stratton's not pitching any innings. But
we don't need.
Hugh has a loyalty issue there.
Hunter Harvey expected to be out until September 11th. We call that tomorrow in the business. Or the
right
day
now it's for
yesterday,
me.
If you're listening to this podcast, so
and it's 12:30 where I'm at. So yesterday.
So that should be pretty good. He threw a bullpen session on September 3rd, shut down a bit after experiencing a setback with his back injury, but he's made enough progress to
in that world,
so
that
could
world,
be good.
He's your 7. You have 4 guys. You have 4 guys there that could conceivably be your 7, 8, 9. And 9 is Ursig.
I want Bubic. I want Bubic 8. Bubic 8. I would not even close. That guy looked awesome tonight. He looked awesome.
Depending on how they look, you got Schreiber or Harvey to pitch 7. And we don't have, knock on wood, and I am knocking on wood, we have not needed many 6. So except for a Singer start,
Schreiber, Lynch, and Harvey could be 3 of those.
That's right. Except for an occasional Singer start where you're getting 5 probably. Then,
Singer again. I think Singer may be
he could be
bullpen too, because you only need like 3 pitchers in the playoffs.
And it's going to be Lugo for sure.
It's Lugo and Reagan's 1-2.
Yep.
And then I think Waka has been
3,
more
and then
consistent.
Singer to the pen.
Singer would be like a freaking elite arm in the pen. I really do think so. I think Stratton is not. He's not going to pitch hardly at all.
No,
funny part is he's making $2 million a year to not freaking
that's
pitch, but
that's well worth it the way he's pitching right now.
God, so suddenly we're looking pretty good. Like we can be cautiously optimistic that our bullpen could be our strength.
Could be
going into
how
late
weird
September
is that?
In the playoffs.
If they stop, if they stop pitching MacArthur, then yes, I think we're fine.
I know, but MacArthur we didn't even mention, right? We have Schreiber, Henry, Bubic, Ursig as our top 5 arms. I don't really think.
Oh, that's great and all, but we are not Cotrero, who has a weird thing. I don't. He loves him, man. He keeps bringing him in high leverage situations, and I don't know why he keep doing that, but he keeps.
I do want to give you guys a quick sadness note for me. At least I'm really disappointed with this because I like the guy, but we didn't talk Royals last. Well, actually, this happened since the last time. I've always been really excited about and high on CJ Alexander. I really liked him. Don't know if you saw what happened, but
God, that's mean.
I did. I thought it was hilarious. I
haven't seen it.
CJ Alexander was put on waivers by the Royals and claimed by the Oakland A's. So he is now with the A's. He's somebody I thought had some potential. He's never really. They really haven't given him sustained time in the pros, but he's never really shown that much either. 28.
He's like 29.
Yeah,
he's like 29. Yeah, 28, 29. He might have like a couple of years where he might be. I mean, he's classic quadruple A guy. Like he might find a role, but he's not going to be an everyday major league player. We all knew that. You knew that. I knew that. Whatever. We have a crappy lineup of never has beens, never will be's, and we couldn't find a spot for that guy. Then fine, let the A's have him. He's 29. He's not 21.
We also lost a pitching prospect to waivers. Anthony Veneziano was claimed off of waivers by the Marlins.
Sure.
And this was all when we went on our spree of acquiring, Grossman and Yuli Gurriel, right? So we had to.
Yeah.
And I've always loved Tommy Pham.
I've always loved.
We had to.
We
clear space on the 40 man. We had to have.
I don't think any of those guys are like major losses. Some guys that were kind of some bright spots in the minors. Brief minors update: Omaha is and has qualified for the playoffs, so they will be competing for the championship at AAA this year, which is terrific and shows great promise for the system, more than I ever thought we would get.
And
we've also got our high A team is Quad Cities is qualified for the playoffs.
The Quad Cities. So wonder why they qualify. I mean, geez, freaking our number one prospect skipped low A ball, much to my annoyance, but he's been like absolutely tearing the ball up. He's not going to be in quadruple A or Quad Cities very long. Yeah, he's Jock or whatever his name is. I'm blanking.
Caglione
is a guy who we're, like, we need that guy to.
He's in Double A.
Yeah,
he's in Double A next year.
He's in Double A next year. Hit his way onto the
Wouldn't
team
that be
next
something?
year.
I think he'll. Well, I guess Bobby Witt basically did. Nah.
I'm saying just knock your way on there.
I just want to see him.
May.
Well, I would love to see if spring training is great. Maybe we go as a Shrewdness, and then
I think we need a Shrewdness podcast.
Shrewdness podcast
surprise
for sure. Surprise. Bring the families. So we'll all go have a good time and do a Shrewdness podcast, and then we see you. Hopefully,
I forgot. Actually, today was the first game of the High A playoffs. So the River Bandits unfortunately lost 1-0 today in their first playoff game, but they are in, and their season's getting ready to wrap up. So interesting. It'll be, but it shows some promise, which is exciting. We need some promise in the minors. We haven't had it in a while. Okay.
Chiefs.
Absolutely. All right, let's roll into the Chiefs. Boy. So we hit a little bit about this in the Gio podcast. So for those listeners out there who want to get additional info about what we thought about from a guillotine and fantasy perspective, go listen to that one for our guillotine. But we're going to talk more kind of like the real nuts and bolts, kind of like the players' performances, strategy, what we liked about it. But we'll start off in Thursday. We got to start the season off with the best team in the NFL, defending two-time champ, Kansas City Chiefs. We brought in a very worthy challenger in the Baltimore Ravens, which could be a preview of a championship game down the road. I believe actually a couple of our shrewdness picks were having Baltimore in that championship game. And Kansas City came up top 27-20 in the most watched season opener of all time. Chisholm, let's hear your thoughts on it. Like, what are your takeaways? Yeah. What did you like, not like?
Well, I'll tell you what.
Much not like, but
my belly has become quite big and full from the tears of Baltimore Ravens fans over the years. It has become quite arduous to ingest all of these tears because every time we play said Ravens, we're supposedly going to lose, and they've supposedly got the talent to finally overcome the Kansas City Chiefs. And this time
don't forget that the refs always give the Chiefs.
And my big toe was too freaking big this time, and we just had one more drive.
This is what happened.
Hate the Ravens.
What is that? It's the world's smallest violin playing a sad, sad song for the Baltimore Ravens. I don't feel bad at all. Not at all. You went out, you got one of the greatest running backs in NFL history, and you had everything you wanted, and you were going to beat us this time, and you didn't. And honestly, it shouldn't have been as close as it was because the Chiefs should have taken care of business at the end of that game. But here's what I like.
Yeah.
What I like is this Chiefs offense looks like the Chiefs offense from 2 and 3 years ago. Like it is like,
yes, it
holy
does.
crap,
Amen.
The world is open again. And that is like,
we're back.
Let me just say this. It puts into context how freaking amazing last year was. We had no wide receivers last year. We had none. And we still won the Super Bowl.
And the ones that were there dropped it all the time.
You just see the threat of Worthy on the field, what it does to the underneath routes and the passes. And this is without Hollywood Brown. We didn't even have Hollywood Brown in this game.
Yeah.
So the offense looks great. Pacheco is still running hard. You always wonder when that's going to stop because you're like, a guy can't run that hard for that long, I don't think, and he's not like a huge dude, but he still looks like he's got his legs and he's going well. Slight concerns about Kelsey, but not huge because I do feel like he's going to kick in when he needs to kick in, and he could conserve himself.
Yep.
He doesn't
Didn't
have to be the horse that catches 12 balls a game. And the only other slight concern I had was a little bit of concern from the linebacking core, and I don't know if it's some of it is scheme. So I'm not super concerned.
Be careful. Be careful.
And Spags.
I know. No.
Holy crap.
No.
Just in case you are not on X, Twitter, or whatever, but my goodness, you talk about a crazy Chiefs split. There are relatively rational people who can say Nick Bolton did not have a good game, and it's okay to say it out loud.
Yeah.
But Chiefs fans are like soccer moms right now. They're so upset that anybody would say that Nick Bolton had a bad game. He looked. I mean, I know he was. They had him scheming like he was running a literal marathon, and he was exhausted in the third quarter, and he was not. He did not tackle likely on that touchdown, and he had 3 chances to, and he just
when I say
he looked like a guy who didn't play much preseason football and didn't have conditioning
and when I
to
say
make it
scheme,
through a whole game.
I don't mean Spag scheme. I mean the scheme had to respond to Lamar. And I will say this, like Lamar does change your defense. And so, I think you're going to see a very, very different Nick Bolton in week 2 because Joe Burrow can't run. So you're going to see Nick Bolton attacking the line, which is what Nick Bolton does great, is attack the line and make awesome tackles at the line. And I think he's going to be much more in his element. When you're playing a running quarterback, Nick Bolton's not going to be what you normally see. It's not his strong suit. He's fine. He's fine in that role.
I feel like the Chiefs played at best a B, and I think the Ravens played near their capacity. Lamar Jackson was so gassed. He didn't practice on Monday. He was so torn up. All right. They put in everything and couldn't, and the Chiefs kind of gave them just
that's
enough
right
to win.
I mean, I think
game.
we know that if we're both on our A games, we're gonna win that game by 10 points. So I think that the difference is Lamar, like we are so in Lamar's head right now that like I hope we
always
draw them. I hate to say this, but I hope we draw them because the mental edge that we have over that team right now is absurd.
Pats lost to Lamar one time. That's it. One game. And that was a Herculean effort. That was a fourth quarter comeback. That was like one of those weird, like, and Pat still almost won. I don't remember many things in my life. My head's full of malted hops and bong resin. But I tell you what, I remember that the Chiefs had one loss to a Lamar-led Ravens team.
Well, 5-1, I think.
I just don't get worked up about the Ravens. Sorry, Ravens fans who followed the Shrewdness podcast for some bizarre reason.
It's just true.
Don't get nervous about them. I just don't.
And here's what my observations. This game felt like a playoff game instead of a week 1 game.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I never even felt concerned. Even going down to the last deal, I was like, even if they score, it's going to make me pissed. I hope they don't get to the point. I would be very pissed. But I felt just that we felt in control the whole game. That's what felt so weird that they actually put that drive together at the end, is that the Chiefs absolutely were handing them their buttocks the entire game. It wasn't really close in how it felt. But then the score ended up being like that, and everybody's like, "Oh, it never
felt close. Like, it never felt close until the. And I agree.
But it didn't.
I didn't actually have stress in my body until that completion.
Same.
And I was
strange.
Like, "What?" I was kind of like, "How are we here?"
No way.
Because like we have definitely won this game, and now I will give this to Harbaugh. I'm not a Harbaugh family fan in general, but like. The fact that he was exactly. The fact that he was unquestionably going for 2 was the right call for sure. And
absolutely.
And not 100%. A lot of coaches will make that call.
The Chiefs defense was all about they were done. That was the thing. I think there was a real chance we were losing that game because the Chiefs defense was like laying on the field with oxygen streaming into them.
Again, conditioning because they hadn't played anything.
But Lamar was kind of too, but he had.
Well, think about this too. Like, here's the other thing about the Ravens. If Lamar has to run that much this season to win, they're done because he is going to get.
They're a 9-win team.
Hurt. That's exactly.
I know he's dodged it, and I know he's like, oh, he's remarkable. But like, the whole complaint last year in the playoffs. Did you see before the game the complaint? Lamar was like, "Well, I was hurting, and that's why we didn't win that game. If I was 100%, we would have won that game."
Yep.
Well, guess what?
You got to make it 100% by playoff time, bro. If you're gonna
run that much in the NFL, you ain't gonna be anywhere near 100%.
You'll never be a hundo.
16 rushes. King Henry with 13 rushes.
That's
Lamar
insane.
had 16. You can't you have to at least flip that, but probably closer to Lamar with like 8 rushes, and you want closer to 18.
I mean, that was their offense.
Exactly
so
right.
we got
the offense was drop back and run.
We got the Bengals coming up. 3:00 Central, 4:25 Eastern.
I can't wait to beat their ass. It's gonna be fun. We might. I know. I hear you, Lou.
I'm way more worried about the Bengals. Even a hamstrung Bengals. I'm terrified. I absolutely I would absolutely take Bengals +6.
I think
there's
Patty
a weird mental
and
game.
Travis are going to just beat the piss out of them single-handedly because they cannot believe that you ever called our home stadium Burrowhead. Those chuck wagons. We will put them in the ground
Lewis,
by the second quarter.
You know this.
Screw them.
Patty Mahomes. Wait, go ahead.
Hold
Patty
grudges.
Mahomes. Thank you.
God bless you.
One petty MFer. And he absolutely hates that they pulled this Burrowhead thing.
Hates
them.
Loathes
now,
them.
That said,
I get it. But there's a mental block. That is his mental block team.
No, it's
the
not.
Bengals are his mental block
Here's
team.
What I'll say. I would actually probably take the Bengals +6 because the Chiefs never cover. Okay, so they just don't cover. Like they refuse to put for whatever reason.
Backdoor
there's
cover.
Something in Andy Reid or Patrick Mahomes. I'm not sure what, but they cannot actually put the foot on the throat of the opponent and just be like, "We're gonna beat you by 5,000." It just doesn't happen.
Yeah, 50.
Unless
20.
they're truly
like
terrible.
The Bears last year.
There are a few games where they're playing. Yeah, they're playing somebody truly terrible, and then they just whatever, and then they pull.
But it's rare. Yeah. It's rare. Like at the end of the day, as Chiefs fans, we've played this game. Like it's not wise to bet on the Chiefs. Here's the only time it's wise to bet on the Chiefs, Shrewdness fans. When I bet on the Chiefs this last week, when they go down 7-0, place your bet on the Chiefs.
Oh yeah. We live bet.
We live bet them.
Once they're down, you live bet them. If they could lose it, fine. But I will say most of the time, you're going to feel better about having a live bet where you can get plus money.
You got to get the odds where we need them to
once you get plus money with the Chiefs, then
it's like printing money.
So much fun. That's
how
the Shrewdness makes a lot of our money.
Yeah.
So let's talk about
our,
gambling, right?
They got.
So
go ahead. Dex.
I want to talk. So we have a new toy. We have Xavier Worthy. And as Lou commented earlier in our guillotine one for guillotine perspective, he only touched the ball 3 times. He took 2 to the house, though. What do you think about our new first-round draft pick, fastest dude?
Well, here's what I think. If I'm honest, here's what I think. He's not going to have games like this every week, okay? Like, here's what I think. I think that this is the perfect scenario because I think that the distraction and threat of Xavier Worthy is much worse than actual Xavier Worthy. He's like Kaiser Sose now. He's like, oh God, don't let Xavier Worthy get the ball. Don't let Xavier Worthy get the ball. Okay, you guys cover up Xavier Worthy. Let Hollywood Brown get the ball. You guys cover up Xavier Worthy. Let Travis Kelce get the ball.
What's up, Kelce and
let
Rice?
Rasheed Rice get the ball.
Rice is going to have... Yeah. He's 10 catches, man. His crazy narrow window catches where the ball is got this tiny window where the defensive back was all over perfect coverage. Didn't matter. It was put in over the shoulder crazy nonsense catching him in stride. No. They know you can't defend that. So
that's right.
He's gonna have 10 balls like that again.
Those slants.
And I think it looked exactly what we thought he'd look like. And we were hopeful we get him the whole season. Still hoping that is true.
Should be.
I am excited about the prospect. Hollywood Brown is slated to practice tomorrow, Wednesday. So for our Shrewdness listeners, it'll probably be the day you hear this or the day before.
I still say they're not going to play him against a hamstrung Bengals team. They're going to hold him. They're going to hold him out for this week because I think they're like, well, let's see if we can get by this week and rest him one more week.
I think if we had
look so with T. Higgins out, basically.
I know, just double team.
I think
Chase,
if we had lost to the Ravens, he plays, and since we didn't, he sits. That's what I would guess.
Yeah.
And I agree. What are the Bengals gonna do? What's their game plan here? What if you're the Bengals?
Zach Moss. And
Zach
Jamar
Moss.
Chase.
Really? Zach Moss is your game plan?
That's it.
Because Jamar Chase is great and he has great games against us. I won't deny the guy like a lot of people, but if he's your weapon and if T. Higgins is truly is there any word on T?
Schefter says he does not expect him to play. I'm already planning on him not playing.
So
yeah.
you really have.
That's right.
It would be amazing for them to pull this off. It really would. I would give them their props if they can pull this off, because
I still wouldn't bet the Chiefs, even though it's only -6 with all of this caveats, because of how scared I am of just the weirdness that has happened in the past. But yeah, they probably should be closer to an 8 to 9 point favorite without like T. Higgins and some of the issues
It does seem that way.
They always
Vegas knows something, but that's it. I mean, I'd be more.
Well, do you think?
Points on
So
this
here's
one
the question.
the
So if we win this game versus the Bengals, does that even our record with them in the Mahomes era?
I think we've taken the last two, so I think
because I am a little. For a long time, we heard this is the only team with the winning record against Mahomes. I would really like to put that narrative to bed.
Yeah, it was like 2-0.
All right, so Patrick Mahomes,
I think it was 3-1
the
at one
Bengals.
point.
There was 2018 pre-Burrow.
All right.
He won, right? And then in 2022 there were 2 games, lost them both. That's where we got the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then we just had the win on December 31st, regular season.
Okay, so we're 1-2.
So I think if you're going, Patrick Mahomes versus Burrow, 1-2. If we win, 2-2.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that at all. I think he beats the piss out of him this week because he's petty. F
Dexter.
him. Don't you ever name my name again, a-holes.
Yep, just like Rodgers was going to absolutely house the Niners on Monday night.
Did I say house? They were up 7-6, baby. Stop the game. Start raining.
Hey,
come on, man. I was right.
When you say things like that, Dexter, you make me anxious to beat the band because it's like the super public, like whatever. Like, no, you have to understand the weirdness happens in the NFL, and there's a weird
happens.
There's a weird Bengals thing, man. If you don't believe in it,
there's also a weird thing that happened this week too, where the freaking Vikings, Sam Darnold, looked like a competent quarterback.
Woo, boy, he looked good out there.
Well, it was the Giants.
They were playing.
If we move on to our gambling, can we move on to the gambling because I've got some thoughts.
Let's move into gambling. So let's rehash last week first. So shrewdness, we didn't quite get you on the yacht.
That's
we
pretty darn good
for you last week. You should have patted the book. If you did the round robin, you should have done well. I did the round robin, so I did the
round robin and did well, and I would have been fine. I initially had wanted, I know it was cut from the pod. We don't have evidence, but I actually wanted Chicago versus stupid Tennessee because I really devalue Tennessee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I really wanted that one, and I would have had it, even though I wouldn't have deserved it because that game was garbage.
God. Tennessee.
But if I'd have gotten that one, we would have been
Tennessee really.
All right, so here's what it was. So Pruitt had New England last week, who you might not have felt good about it, but New England came out. Not only did they cover, they got the money line if you went that direction.
Right. Yep.
Then I took Jacksonville plus 3.5. Thank God they hung on to the field goal, but they were stomping them the whole game. But they still hung on by the field goal. So be it. That's why I took the points, baby. And then we had Chisholm with Seattle, and Seattle looked rough. It was a battle of just turd burgers and shish kebab.
They were so bad that first
against
half.
Denver.
So bad.
Two
Seattle
safeties
covered.
for Denver in a half, and they almost had a third safety in one half.
Unbelievable.
What kind of nonsense is this?
But you know what? That was called 3-0. And then Atlanta. So Atlanta against Pittsburgh.
They're winning the whole game.
They were winning the whole game. It wasn't looking great, but it was still up. And then they just gave up a tutty and then
so bad
pick to end it. And that was it. Just terrible.
Atlanta.
So moving into this week, I'm going to give Pruitt's pick because Pruitt can't join us tonight. He is going with the New York Football Jets. Woo! And he is taking the -4. I believe he thinks Rodgers is going to come back and have a much better performance.
That's at Tennessee.
So he's doing Jets.
It's at Tennessee. I like this as a more anti-Tennessee Will Levis pick. After what he did last week,
that may be it's actually what Will Levis does a lot, if we're being dead honest.
Right.
He throws the ball to the other team often.
He has some good plays, but he
pees down the leg a lot.
That's
There's
exactly
no
right.
doubt.
All right.
Yes.
Chisholm,
so,
who are you going to take and give our shrewdness listeners some money to take to the bank?
This is going to sound icky, guys. I just want to warn you. It's going to sound icky, but you need to understand the reasoning here. So, for the second week in a row, I'm going to take the horrific-looking Seattle Seahawks. And here's the reason why.
Oh, boy.
So, they are -3 on the road at New England. But here's why. Okay, one, New England is not good, but they looked like everyone thinks they're good because they won that game. So that's going to bring more money to New England, which is moving the line. And then you've got Seattle, who totally peed down their leg in the first half of that game and still covered. So they didn't play anywhere near to what their average should be. So you got two teams that didn't play what they really are. So that gives an imbalance in the line in my mind. So in that case, what I'm going to say is Seattle's actually undervalued and New England's actually overvalued. Therefore, Seattle -3. Lock it up. Let's do it.
All right, games.
I don't hate it. I feel like you're taking a harder line than you have to. It's a fine pick. I just don't think it's like there's low hanging fruit out there, people. There's free money to be had this week.
You're up next. Give us your.
Speaking of
low hanging fruit, is that
let's hear some of it.
Holy Hannah, the absolutely easiest pick of the year right now is Baltimore, Las Vegas. Okay, Las Vegas is horrific. They are one of the worst teams I've ever seen play. Baltimore is definitely not going 0-2. Okay. They are a potential AFC title game team. They're at home against a horrifically bad and horrifically coached Las Vegas team. Okay. This has been beat into the ground. I'm coming with my baseball bat for this dead horse. I don't care. Las Vegas punted the ball down 9 points in the fourth quarter with 6 minutes to go in plus field position.
Unbelievable.
They were on the 40. What? Are you kidding me? So you're telling me Baltimore, who is angry, who knows they have to win, who knows they're at home and playing a horrific team, are not going to absolutely pedal to the metal, just drub Las Vegas. And Las Vegas is terrible. Did you see Gardner Minshew try to throw a football? He can't. It doesn't matter how good your skill positions are when you have that bad of a quarterback and that bad of a head coach. Not only am I locking up the -9.5, I strongly recommend to the Shrewdness listeners, ladder this thing. Take every minus number you can get up to -20.5. All right? I'm going to put 100, X number of units or whatever you want to say. Right? And just take bites all the way up, getting higher and higher odds. I think this is the blowout of blowouts. I don't see a world where Las Vegas could do anything. And I hate to do this, but I have to piggyback. Are you taking the I'll hang on. I got more. Right. I got more. But I'll just take this one as my lock. I got more.
Yeah, I've got kind of a pile of them too. I'm taking the one I like the best. So I had an initial one, but I'm going with this one. I just keep looking at it, and I can't get away from it. I'm taking the Colts -3 on the road at Green Bay because, my God.
It's an anti-Malik Willis pick, and that's totally fine.
Willis is not good.
No, he's not good at professional football. We know this.
Clifferton, even if they bring that guy in, he's not good. And the Colts looked really good. They played a great game against Houston, who is arguably one of the favorites in the AFC to make a deep run. And they put them all the way to the end. And the thing is, you're telling me Anthony Richardson and company can't give Green Bay by a field goal with no freaking quarterback?
Right.
Come on, man. So I'm taking
I don't disagree. Again, I don't think this is the next low-hanging fruit. Because the Carolina Panthers The Carolina Panthers had one blue chip player, a defensive tackle. I can't remember his name right now because he's on the IR. He's out for 4 weeks.
That is the other pick I was going to do. It's the one I initially started with, and I love it. It's Chargers. But the thing is, what I hate is that there's going to run, which wasn't really working that well until the end, and when it did. And then, obviously, J.K. Dobbins dropped like a 60-yarder and like a 40-yarder.
It doesn't
but
matter.
He was like 1.8 yards per carry until then.
Bryce Young is incompetent. He is incompetent.
I want so badly because, okay, you guys will, if you're listening to Street News, you'll pick up on my tendencies. I want so badly to take Carolina in that game because everything about my mind tells me I should take it because everyone is thinking this. Everyone is thinking Chargers by 40. So I keep thinking there's got to be something. And normally you will see me always take the points in this case because everyone
contrarian pick. However, I totally think that's fine.
I can't do it because the Panthers.
No,
like Lewis talked about scoring 0 points last week for some team. I don't know how the Panthers are going to score any points in any professional football game. They have the worst offensive roster that I can conceive of.
There's no skill.
All right, so here's what we're doing. We're adding a 5th pick to this week. We're doing the Chargers minus 6.5. And that is our shrewdness hive mind because we all love it.
Do not.
I don't know why none of us actually took it, but we're taking it.
No,
we're taking it.
I'm telling the listeners, do not take it because we're all on it.
Oh yeah, listeners don't take it, but we're absolutely adding that game in. I would also argue that Washington versus New York Giants should be stealing printing money too. You got to be kidding me with Daniel Jones at this point. That man cannot play football. Like, I'm sorry, Minnesota is not good. And Minnesota.
Hey,
stop it.
Aaron
Minnesota
Jones,
is not
Justin
good.
Jefferson, baby.
And Washington made Minnesota look like a division contender.
Ooh, we might be now. It
was all the New York Giants being so horrifically bad.
Jaden Daniels looked legitimately scary. Like Jaden Daniels threw for 170 yards, which isn't a lot for a quarterback, but he ran for 2 touchdowns. And he's what Caleb Williams is supposed to be. I know it's only 1 week, but he's what Caleb Williams was supposed to be in week 1. He actually did what Caleb Williams was supposed to do. He looks with much less talent around him. I like that pick a lot. Here's the other thing I like.
Yes.
Dexter's gonna hate this. Here's the other one.
I got another one.
Official. We got our 4 officials, but here's an extra bonus pick. Here's a bonus pick.
I got more.
Dexter, cry. But the 49ers -6. Are you kidding me? At the Vikings? Are you kidding me? -6. Okay, they just beat
home opener at the bank, baby. It gets loud in there.
Crap out of the Jets, who have like a defense that's about 300 times better than the Vikings.
I'm scolding in your face right now.
300 times better than the Vikings. Like,
if I had a drum, I'd hit
it. They have a backup running back that's better than 90%
of the
starting running backs in the NFL. Okay, like he's shredded.
JJ.
He's shredded. And oh, by the way, Brandon Ayuk played like absolute dog piss, and they still destroy.
He is dog piss.
That's not going to happen. They did not. CMC could play. Ayuk is not going to play that poorly anymore. Their defense, I don't think the Vikings are going to score a touch. I don't think they're going to score. It could be a shutout at Minnesota. That's how bad it's going to be.
Oh, I have another. Here's my next honorable mention, Flores, which I would still, and I'm going to have a hell of a parlay that I'm putting together. Pittsburgh, Denver. I'm sorry. Bo Nix could not throw the ball greater than 15 yards. If you threw the ball greater than 15 yards in the air, it was an interception every time. So he could only throw a ball within 10 to 15 yards. And that was it. And as soon as Seattle figured that out, they're like, oh, yes, well, this is easy. Are you telling me TJ Watt is not going to do some unholy things to Bo Nix? Are you kidding me? That defense absolutely throttled a geriatric Kirk Cousins who at least knows how to play football. Bo Nix is going to be in a feeding tube situation on Monday.
What I also like about that particular game is the under 36.5.
Oh,
God,
yeah.
This looks like a 10-6 game.
Pittsburgh's going to score about 7 more field goals, all right? And Denver is going to somehow score negative points. That is printing money.
I don't know how to get
printing money.
6 points out of those two teams.
I love
at altitude.
I'm sorry, Chisholm. That is printing money. There is no way Bo Nix beats that defense.
Let me just
not happening.
I have said from day one, and I want it on the record, that Bo Nix sucks. I said this from the beginning. I watched this man in college for 18 years because that's how long he played in college. And everywhere he played, he was mediocre. And everyone was like, Bo Nix, he's so great. And I was like, I don't get it. And here he is in the pros.
He was good at Oregon.
And he's still he's the same. He is who we thought he is.
He has quarterback whisperer, super Sean Payton quarterbacking coach, everything. Sean Payton looked like a weird geriatric lady on the sidelines with a pince-nez glasses set. If you didn't see him, he looked bizarrely weird, and he's sitting there screaming into a play sheet. And every time that ball had to go more than 10 yards, it's like I was telling Dexter, it was on the broadcast. As soon as he threw the pass that was more than 15 yards, the broadcaster goes, "Oh no." It happened in the middle of the game. The pass had barely left his hands. The second it left his hands, the broadcaster, "Oh no." And yes, it was easily picked. Seattle covered because they figured out Bo Nix was so limited. They just shut him down.
There are what appear to be many instances of being able to print money this weekend. Therefore, we are going to lose a ton of money this weekend.
But probably. I'm in for that. I'm in for that because I'm definitely going to have a hell of a parlay with about 7 legs. And I'm going to lose it. I'm going to lose it on something stupid. I'm going to lose it on something stupid. But I'm definitely throwing a unit or two on a big
Carolina. Carolina's going to come up big.
There is no chance. I don't see a world. Look, you guys watch the Marvel movies. There are alternate dimensions, and in none of those alternate dimensions can Carolina win that game or even come close.
But there's a spider pig in one of those dimensions.
And that spider pig still beats Carolina by 6 points. It's not happening.
That'd be all right, yeah.
It's not happening. New Orleans isn't even good, and they were just effing them repeatedly.
Yeah. No, they definitely took them out behind the woodshed.
It's so true.
That's a fact.
New Orleans looked like a Super Bowl team. I was like, what is going on?
They're not good. People are projecting that their over-under win total is like 7. I'm not even playing.
Like one of our surprises of the week, Derek Carr, Captain Checkdown, having
what is going on?
MVP style game. Yeah.
Unbelievable.
All right. Well, I think that wraps us up for the week.
You got the picks down?
I got the picks down. So here's what we got. We got Pruitt, Jets -4. I'm taking the Colts -3 on the road at Green Bay. We got Chisholm, who just loves Seattle. Second week in a row, he's going to take him again at New England. And then we've got Lewis with Baltimore. He's going to ladder up to 48.5 points. I just minus 9.5.
Do like a half unit on like -48.
Just going to the woodshed. So he's got Baltimore all day. We've kind of hit some other ones we kind of like, but do what you will with those.
But remember, gamble responsibly.
Thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, hump, and hopefully we get sponsored by FanDuel.
And drink responsibly and get the best cigars. But enjoy week 2 of fantasy. Enjoy week 2 of Chiefs. Enjoy the weekend coming up for the Royals. Hopefully we have some positivity to talk about next week. Thank you so much for listening. We'll get back to it next week with a full crew, hopefully with Pruitt back. But in the meantime, stay shrewd, baby. And thank you, Scotty Morrison, for our outro music. All right, Shrewdness crew. That wraps up another episode of the Shrewdness. Hopefully you enjoyed talking some Royals and Chiefs and getting some fresh bets. That way you can go buy the things you want to buy and get what you need. So, as always, please like, follow, subscribe on Spotify, YouTube, X, Insta, TikTok. We're all over the place. And thanks again to Scotty Morrison for the Shrewdness music. Till next time, shrewdness out.